All right, this is Black Science TV 111, and I'm here with my brother Osei Kufuor, and I'm just gonna step in and just, you know what I'm saying, ask the brother how he been. You know what I'm saying? What you been up to, man?
Man, brother, so much, man.
Right.
Dealing with the online university,
Mm-hmm.
dealing with a whole lot of people who call it, because I get calls all through the night,
Right.
all through the morning. My queen is like, golly. So, I'm just trying to tend to our people, because like I said, when they ask for knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
you got to give it to them.
Now I seen something on Facebook about one of the classes you have available now.
Right.
Would you like to speak on that?
Well, that particular class is a homeschool class. It's not per se with the online university.
Okay.
But if you choose to homeschool your child,
Mhm.
then you can call. We got the books, the curriculums. We'll send it to you. It's cheaper actually than the online university.
Right.
It's $150 for the book. You also get a membership, which will actually assist you in health advice, metaphysical advice, law advice,
Y'all get
things
that.
of that nature. So y'all better come on and jump on this boat.
Right.
All right.
All right. Now I'm gonna step back and I'm gonna interview the brother because I got some questions and I know y'all gonna love the topic today. What we're gonna touch on today is metaphysics and what is sex? The metaphysics of sex. So I'm gonna start off asking my brother, what is sex?
Well, we have to leave the third dimensional realm in order to understand what sex is, because our ancestors knew with the metaphysics and the science of what sex is. It's not a physical aspect. You got to understand, when we are sexually communicating with each other, it's not a physical thing. It's energy having sexual communication with other energy. You understand what I'm saying? For an example, when you look at the sun and you look at the moon, right? Now this is gonna be a bit deep for a lot of y'all, but I'm gonna try to break it down as much as I can. When you look at the sun and you look at the moon, we understand that the light is energy. And I just said that energy have sexual communication with other energy.
Right.
All right, well, we all know that the light from the sun is shining onto the moon. It reflects to the moon. So that's a form of sexual communication. Those two entities are making love with each other. You understand what I'm saying? One produces gravity and one produces a force field.
Right.
Just like the man and the woman in a physical form. One has an egg and one produces the sperm.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? And this right here produces stars, which is gases. And both entities is a form of gas. So when you have the light shining from the sun onto the moon, they are both making love, but they also go through things too, like we do. You ever heard of that makeup sex? You know what I mean? So whenever an eclipse occurs, this is when the moon blocks the sun. They are having disagreements with each other, but they still, after the fact of being an eclipse,
Right.
have makeup sex, because the light still reflects from the moon.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So sexual thing, when we look at sex, we have to understand it in the energy type form. Now, when you look at energy, or if you're sleeping with somebody who's on low energy or low frequency, and you have high energy, what that does is it takes away from your energy. It sucks away from your energy.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So, sex is more than what we think it is.
Okay.
It's an art. And if you don't understand the art, which is the foundation or the basis for sexual communication,
Right.
then that right there will mislead you. And that's why today we look at sex as being some type of derogatory thing. Religion makes it derogatory.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? But yet instead, God said, He put us here to create, even though I know the metaphysics of who God is. When I look in the mirror, like Dr. John Henry Clark said, if you look in the mirror and nobody looking back at you, you don't have a friend, basically saying you don't have a God.
Right.
You have to be your own sustainer.
Now I got a question. Okay. The female, when she gets aroused from her genitals, there's an energy that goes upward towards her heart, which is the middle dantian. This energy is a prevalent energy because it's the only energy that makes a woman more wise or wisdomly fond to what sexual energy is. Does the female, because they say females develop faster than the man,
That's right.
and some of the principles that are based on what I'm saying right now could be researched and looked at, but does that mean that women have a clear-cut understanding?
Hold on, but we have to, when we say develop faster than the man, we have to make sure that we talk about the mental too.
Right.
Because you have to understand, a female is a mental entity.
Okay.
So this is how she's more calmer, she's more firm, she's more patient than a man is. You understand what I'm saying?
Righteous.
But to go back to answer that question, the female entity is more of a subatomic particle.
Break that down, brother.
When you study the atoms in the universe, right? You have to see the functions of an atom.
Got you.
They are one and the same. It's like Adam and Eve. God said, I made man and woman and created he them. They called their name Adam. So therefore, there's more of a dominancy of a female energy within the atom once it's touched with a certain type of frequency. So the thing is, it produces, okay? From an atom produces frequency. The frequency raises up, it produces particles. Particles produces tissue. Tissue produces cells. Cells produces organisms, all right? it's a procreation thing. This is a feminine aspect, okay? The man is sitting in the seat with this procreation method, but he's not more dominant than the woman.
Right.
Because she is the sustainer of everything in the universe.
Right.
And when I say she, I'm not talking about the woman with the long hair. I'm talking about the woman that's in the sky, the dark matter, that's producing other atoms and ratios and subatomic particles in the universe, okay? Because you have to understand the sex thing. Evolution cannot occur without some type of sexual communication. When you and your woman or you and your queen lay down and have sexual communication, right? You are doing this for procreation, hopefully, because this is the art of sexual communication, metaphysically. Now, when you create a child, right? Within 9 months of gestation in her womb, that child is going through an evolution. So in order for that child to go through evolution, it had to have some type of foundation to have an evolutionary basis for it to be set up inside of that feminine energy, inside of that womb. You understand what I'm saying? So yeah.
Now, also a question that I have is that I touched on this plenty of times in videos that the 5%ers say, I like to cultivate her mind and go to her diameter and the navel of her womb. Now we know the navel of the womb is the part that it connects to a chakra energy that has a passionate release of energy.
Right.
So what parts of the metaphysics can we use to be more passionate with our women as far as understanding how to properly use passion at the right time, and does the universe have anything to do with passion?
I'm glad you asked that. Now, the only way you can stimulate the mind of your woman, and a certain type of woman, when I talk about the woman, I'm talking about the black woman, is the mental. Metaphysically, you can stimulate a woman physically, but metaphysically, mind-wise, is the best stimulation.
Right.
You understand why I say that?
Why is that?
Because when you look up at the universe, right, there's certain parts of the season in the year where the universe is going through an evolutionary sexual or compassionate energy. And that's why certain times of the year, if you're making love or having sex or making love to your queen, the person you want to be with now, because if you're not feeling that person, you can't produce. Like I said, it's not just the foods that we eat physically. It's the people that we allow. And black women, be careful who you allow into your womb.
Yes.
Because your womb is your mental capacity for evolution, for anything that you bring through it. So every mind that comes through your womb, that mind will pick up on the particles of your knowledge.
Right.
And knowledge is energy also. But to say this, you said something about how it travels. They want to stimulate the navel now.
Yes.
When you look at the cortex of the constellation A,
okay,
right, which is the brightest star in the constellations of Orion,
right,
at a certain point of the year, in November, at that point of the year, that light dims because it's sending other energy to other stars, right? So Sirius A is actually stimulating Sirius B. This is where the light coming from, to reflect on Sirius B because it's a part of itself. Just like in the womb of a woman, every December the 25th, you have to understand her DNA is talking to certain DNA spectacles in her body, or certain DNA particles in her body. So the thing is, we can't, like I said, we can't look at it from a physical thing.
Right.
You have to take a woman and stimulate her mentally. Because it's a turn off for you to go to a woman, well, to some women who don't see themselves as queens, there's a difference. A woman who sees herself as a queen and value herself would much rather be stimulated mind-wise, because the mind is the actual deity of Isis.
Now,
you understand what I'm saying? So,
not to cut your wisdom, brother, but you touching on the mental connection as far as you connected with her mind. Now, in terms, some brothers may manipulate the mind, but we know the first law of thermodynamics is that energy cannot be created or destroyed. So with that being said, when they're manipulating her energy, what are some of the things that they're sending to her body that are negative? If I'm manipulating this queen's mind, and I know I'm like, oh man, I got her right where I want her. What am I doing to her? How am I impacting her?
Well, the thing is this right here. The woman is a board. Sometimes the man could be in the role of being the paintbrush.
Okay.
Depending on what you paint on this board, which is her mind, can affect that woman.
Okay.
Right? Now, if you go to a woman and you're stressing her out all the time, and you make a love to her, what you're doing is you are sucking the energy from her, and what you're doing is you're sucking the energy from yourself. And what you're doing is you stagnate your own mind, because you gotta understand, once you get into the woman, both minds are connected. It's just that sometimes you have no good brothers who want to pull away because they have an agenda, but it's pertaining to getting between the legs of a woman. You understand what I'm saying? So it could be very effective. That's why we have to watch with who we sleep with, who we let into your womb, sisters, because at the same time, that determines your thought process. That tells you who you are. You have to look at yourself as being more valuable, you understand, than what society paint the picture as you are. So the thing is this right here, Everything around us is having sexual communication.
Right.
The stars is having sexual communication to give birth to other stars. Giving birth is a feminine aspect.
So
You
in
understand what I'm
turn, I'm not putting words in your mouth, brother, because we hear this thrown around many times
Right.
as a kind of an insult towards how powerful sex is. I heard sex ain't everything. So is sex everything? Since you put it that way, since the stars are having sex, since this asexual reproduction happened?
Look, brother, look. If sex wasn't everything, then we would be extinct.
Okay.
It's the manner in which we have sex.
Right.
It's a big difference. Now, if we're having sex with an agenda behind it,
Okay.
right, without having any type of evolutionary morals behind the sexual deity or the being that we're having sex with, then yes, that's not important. That type of sex is not important.
Righteous.
Right? So that's what I'm saying. Everything has a basis of its foundation. Even the negative has to exist. You understand? For the positive to exist. And the positive has to exist for the negative to exist. You understand what I'm saying? So when you feeding different mind states, if you go to a child and look at a child, when you study the mind of a child has more patience. And this is sort of like the woman. The child and the woman has a lot of identical characteristic traits. You understand what I'm saying? If you study the cells of a woman,
Right.
it's not like the cells of a man. A lot of people don't know that. The cells of a woman rejuvenates more quicker and faster than the cells of a man. And I heard in the beginning you said that women actually produce,
Yes, they
or
do.
they grow faster than a man.
Right.
That's true. But not only what you see, it's what's inside of her that produces faster. Not
Right.
just the mental, but her cells. Because her cells have a lot to do. You have to look into the nucleus of the cell. Because the nucleus is what's telling this woman what's going on in her body. But we ignore, because we so sidetracked with technology, we so sidetracked with, the booty shaking and things of that nature, and we think that's sex. That's
Right.
not sex, that's ignorance. And when you start to put yourself down on a level of being in that area of sex and seeing yourself as an animal,
Right.
then that's what you are, because you are energy. Your thoughts is energy. You become your thoughts.
Now my question is, touching on sex and the female and the feminine energy, because we know everything inside this world has a feminine energy, should we study the female more to understand the universe? Since we know that everything is feminine, should we study that? Should we study the female body, her anatomy, her gestational periods, her menstrual cycles, her makeup? Should we study the female to get a better understanding of how the universe works and what sex is?
Well, it depends. Now, if you study a female, see, it's for guys who's on an elementary level of understanding who the female is.
Right.
They can't look at the physical aspect of a female, study her, and know her worth.
Okay.
They will actually have to have self-love and self-worth in order to study her, because she is a manifestation of the male. And the male is a manifestation of her. It's just that we have a degenerate spectrum of energy within our DNA. And I'm not talking about physical DNA. So, how did I get to where I am today? To know who the female is?
Right.
I studied the universe. Because the universe does everything that the black woman does. In particular, I'm talking about the black woman when I speak about the woman. Okay? Because we can go back and prove how old she is.
Right.
She is as old as the dark matter that's identical to her DNA in the sky.
Okay.
So you got to understand that men have to know what they study in a woman when they study the woman. Because some men will go with an agenda. Again, and if you're going to study under an agenda mechanism, then you're not going to get what you need to know the mind of that woman or
Right.
the mind of that queen. Again, in order for you to know who a queen is and what a queen is, you got to know who a king is and what a king is.
Right.
If you can't see yourself as being valuable, you're not going to be able to see her as being valuable. You understand what I'm saying? So
Now,
we just have to we have to broaden our spectrum when it comes to studying the mental of the woman, not just the woman, but studying ourselves.
right.
Because we are, and like I said, we are a manifestation of that which gives birth to us.
Now my next question is, does food affect any parts of what sex is in the universe, and yourself and the female? Like if you eat, is there certain foods that say, well, if you eat that might affect your body detrimentally to the point where you can't produce? How does food affect sex in this present day and time? And what what foods can we eat to bring better benefits to us to be procreative beings?
Right. Well, usually I talk about a physical, healthy diet.
Right.
But since we're talking about sex,
Right.
let's go beyond the kindergarten talk.
Right.
The best diet to have pertaining to sex is love of self, love of mind, and the person that you're having sex with, the love of their mind and the love of who they are. Again, it goes back to that root. You understand what I'm saying? We're not going to add on answers to things that's common to us.
Right.
Well, common to people who are in the aspect of having that open mind. Now, sex is in the jurisdiction of knowing who and what a certain energy is. You have to know the energy of a woman. The energy of a woman is very high. Her frequency is high. So without her, we'll have low energy. You understand what I'm saying? We are, like I said, we are degenerates, but not in a bad way, because a woman needs us and we need her. But at the same time, we need her more so.
Right.
Because I hear a lot of people say, well, without the sperm, she can't do this. But you have to understand, you're not doing your history to go back to see the historical dominancy of the female.
Mm-hmm.
Because today you're living in a patriarchal society. At one time, this was a matriarchal society.
Right.
And I'm not going to say it was one time in Egypt or in Kemet. We were all over the world. I'm not going to just demint us to being just in Africa. You understand what I'm saying? We were all over the world.
Absolutely.
And coming out of the body, we're still all over the world.
Absolutely.
What do I mean by that? If we are a melanated species, then the dark matter in the universe is melanin. So that means that we are everywhere in the world. We are the energy that's everywhere in the world.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So when people try to argue, are we the oldest in history, this and that, we are the oldest in history. We're not talking about in this form or in this element. We're talking about God particles. You understand what I'm saying? And the particles that I speak of is older than the word God itself. You understand what I'm saying? So, you know, we have to be mindful to what we follow and what we do. We have to do the research. You understand what I'm saying? But yeah, I'm glad that, because I haven't seen you in a while, brother.
Right,
and I know
right.
that you're doing a lot. You're making a lot of moves to go in business for yourself.
Absolutely.
So I must give love and respect to you, because being a young brother,
Appreciate
you come
that.
out to these front lines, brother.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I don't want to make this about me.
Right.
Because I love you, my brother.
Hey, man,
You know
it's
what I mean?
likewise. I love you too, man.
And the thing is this right here, we have to look out for each other.
Righteous.
So
My
you
next
know-
question, I don't mean to cut your wisdom, because
That's okay, brother.
I know you definitely showing your respects, but
No, but you know, you have to do that. You have to show respect.
Right.
And you can't cut that type of love, because when you cut love, it becomes a hybrid, it becomes a process.
Absolutely.
So we have to be able to build each other up on these terms when we see each other doing things. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Because
sir.
hatred in the black community is another oppressor
Right.
of the black man and woman. We
it
hate
is.
each other.
Now let me ask that question. Like, I want you to get into the metaphysics of, not just the metaphysics, but let's bring some metaphysics and let's bring some social, economic
Hold on,
factors.
my brother just
Oh,
came
yeah,
through.
yeah,
Hold
yeah,
on a
yeah,
second,
yeah.
man. What's going on, my brother? Black Power. Black Power. Say what's up to the people, bro.
Like, wow, how you guys doing?
It's the man Stacy right here, you know, got a Black Panther in the organization.
See, y'all see
kid.
this brother right here? He ready. He ready, brother. He always on the front lines doing what he doing for our people.
Righteous.
You know what I mean? We don't know what death is. You understand what I'm saying? We don't fear that type of stuff when it comes to liberating our people spiritually, mentally, and physically. You know what I mean? So shout out to my brother here from the Black Panther. You know what I mean? He always holding it down in the community.
Righteous.
Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, my bad, man. You know what I'm saying? Got the brother over his
okay,
energy
brother.
radiating off of him, feeling it.
Yeah.
So my next question is let's get into the metaphysics and social economic factors of the self-hatred that's reflected and deflected from the black man to the black woman. Where did that come from, and what are some of the ways we can rid that?
Well, again, you got to go back to the Willie Lynch syndrome. It's still among us today, but it's not among us in a way where you see physical people forcing us
Right.
to do the things or to carry out their agenda,
Mhm.
to play out in their agenda. So the thing is, first we must raise the woman. Why? If the universe is in retrospect or is in opposition to each other due to things being planted inside of it that's not consistent to its being,
Mm-hmm.
in order to raise that universe back, it must rid itself of every hybrid species.
Right.
And when I say hybrid, I'm talking about negative thoughts.
Mhm.
We look at hybrids and say just the white man. No,
Mhm.
the white man is a particle of negative energy. They have to be taught to be good people.
Right.
We taught them how to be good. You understand what I'm saying? But the thing is this right here. When you say that, what can we do to economically stabilize ourselves
Mm-hmm.
as a family unit?
Right.
We have to understand that the woman plays a big role, and this is why today they're taking the man out of the household,
Mhm.
because that's their agenda. Without the woman, the agenda will not play out. You understand what I'm saying? So you know, it's simple. Those type of questions are simple, brother. We just have to look at the black woman and see her condition. You understand what I'm saying? Because today, I was talking to a black woman, one of the black queens today before I came down, and she was telling me that she had just left the church and she got into some consciousness. And she started studying, you know, she had ordered my book, and you know, it was very deep. So she said that her pastor been calling her, and mind you, the pastor used to talk to her mother. You know what I mean? So the pastor been calling her, asking, do she need this or need that? But then she said that he called her all of a sudden today and said, do you need bras? And then he got to a point where he started asking her, she said, do you like bras that shows your titties most?
Oh,
and I'm
man.
like, you know, see, this is the shit that we have to go through.
Woo.
As long as we got systems like that to help keep us down by way of the white man's agenda, then we, you know what I mean? No matter what we do as a people, we're going to always be divided. Because it's like a crab in a barrel.
Right.
As soon as one gets to the top, another one trying to pull them down.
Now,
you know what I'm saying? And the church plays a role in being that crab that's at the bottom.
Right.
When they see brothers like us in the community on the front lines trying to, you know, liberate our woman because we know the importance and the moral values of our woman. She's the diamond in the rough.
Right.
So we have to go into the dirt and dig deep. And we have to take these diamonds and we have to sift it. Like you do when you get diamonds, you have to sift it. And make sure that the mind of that queen is back in her warrior status. You understand what I'm saying? That Harriet Tubman status. You know what I mean?
Now, one of the things that that play a big part with today is, as far as the dysfunctionality, it's interracial dating and interracial relationships. You just said that the hybrid or the European or the albinoid was a negative factor to that positive energy. So when a negative factor or positive a negative energy is entering the female body, the black female body, what does that do? And does this have anything to do with slavery and oppression that has been mentally pushed into the woman, as far as the black woman that is?
Now, it doesn't dominantly does anything to us,
Right.
but it does hurt the hybrid species, which is the white race.
Okay.
Because every time a white woman sleep with a black man, you have to understand